Hi, I'm Joseph Smith Price. I went by Joe or Jode. I was a farmer, miner, and railroad man. Let me tell you the story of my life. I was born on July 2, 1853 in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is about 6 years after Utah was settled. I was born to John Price and Eliza Adair, who had crossed the plains in covered wagons in 1851. They had been sealed together in the endowment house in January, 1853, a few months before I was born. In 1857 the family was called by Brigham Young to found the Cotton Mission in the city of Washington, Utah, just north of St. George. We were to colonize, with the specific assignment to grow cotton. You can check out this monument in Washington, Utah to celebrate the city's founders. It's called Adair Spring Monument and my dad is listed. My cousin Samuel Newton Adair led the first expedition here. I was raised with 3 older siblings, Rebecca, Thomas, and Hiram. 2 of them were born on the plains in Iowa on the Mormon Pioneer Trail heading west. My younger sister Eliza died the same year as this census in 1860. Here is the 1870 census. It lists my dad as a carpenter and my brothers worked at the sawmill and on the farm. My mom was keeping house. I married Annie Alger on March 2, 1874 in St. George, Utah. I worked 3 summers to get a wagon and we had a new horsehair chest at our wedding. I will never forget the first night on our wedding trip. We came upon the Virgin River with its overflowed banks. Annie said, "Jode, you'll never make it." And I replied, "Oh yes I can, we're going to go through. We've gone this far, we go on through." We got as far as the middle, then the horse got away. Then the wheels got stuck and our wagon turned over. Then our horsehair trunk went floating down the stream. We pulled off our clothes and lost them. We went into a hysteric laughter. I was in my red underwear in the river holding onto a branch. All our presents from the jamboree were gone. The horse was gone. The wagon was gone. Annie said, "Jode, you old fool, you look just like a red bird." This was our first night together. And that's the way we started out our married life. Nothing ever daunted us. The St. George Temple was the first LDS temple completed in Utah. We had our marriage sealed for eternity there on our 3rd anniversary on March 2, 1877, 2 months after the temple opened up. We raised 4 children, Eva, Josie, Claude, and Lucille. This is the 1900 census in St. George. My job is listed as a miner. I am also listed as stockman and a teamster in other census records. I was known as a Dixie freighter. In our first 20 years of marriage we moved around from Parowan, Diamond Valley, and St. George, Utah. We didn't like to settle anywhere too long. We also moved to Pioche, Nevada and Medina, Utah on mining expeditions. We settled in St. George for a time. I would be off a lot on travel away from the family, going on prospecting trips looking for mineral deposits and doing experimental excavation. I loved horse racing. I was on the Washington County Committee to establish the rules for the race. I remember the exciting race when my sorrel horse raced against Dan Siegmiller for $50 in a 1,000-yard race. We had a hotel in St. George and also one in Pioche, Nevada. Here is an advertisement in our local newspaper looking for people to come dine there on July 4th. We had first-class dinners. My double sister-in-law Addie Price and my daughter Eva had a millinery store. Since I traveled so much for mining, I would transport goods and new stock for their store. We left southern Utah in July of 1900 with the intention of making Salt Lake City our permanent residence and owning a hotel there. My daughters Josephine and Eva came with us. Salt Lake City was a better place for a hotel because of the railroad and larger population. In 1902 we had a small fire in our home where we lost about $200, including Easter bonnets and golf shirts. I called with our phone and could not remember our home number. One of our tenants from the railroad, Fred Worsley, married my daughter Eva. I never recovered from a freak railroad accident, but I cheerfully hid my pain. I expressed myself with one-worders. I usually said, fiddlesticks, or just plain, shucks. My oldest grandchild was Josie's kid, Claude Snow. We loved family events and would gather for July 4th and Thanksgiving. Here is an event with the Prices, Spencers and Snows. I continued to look for good mining establishments throughout the state. Here I had 200 pounds of copper from the Colorado Rive mine, and there is plenty more in this area. About 1912, we traded our interest in the Salt Lake Hotel and purchased a large tract of land as one of about 2 families in the small town of Oasis, Utah. Some say that it's so small that it's a one-horse town, without the horse. To stop the train, I would build a fire on the railroad tracks to pick us up. My grandkids came to visit. My granddaughter Anna crawled under the pig fence to go pet a piglet, and the mother sow started to charge her. I turned pale and jumped the fence and swept her out of the way just in time, and then barely jumped over the fence to save myself from that sow's fury. Anna was so impressed with me that she renamed herself to Joanne. We moved back to Salt Lake by 1920 and then moved to Los Angeles after I retired in 1924. In Los Angeles, California, we lived with my daughter Josie and Claude Snow. We also lived part-time with my daughter Lucille and Fred Spencer, who lived close to each other. Here is the 1930 census. My eyelashes were incredibly thick and eyebrows were bushy. My hair was auburn gold swirls turned foam white. My eyes were blue and prone to detail. I was soft-voiced and wise beyond my lifetime. I had a quiet calm and a dry humor that never disappointed. I died on June 4, 1931 at age 77 while living with the Spencers in Los Angeles. I was an early freighter, cattle rancher, and mining man of southern Utah. I mainly lived in Salt Lake, St. George, and Los Angeles. I am buried at Valhalla Memorial Park, North Hollywood, California, but I do not have a gravestone. I am next to my wife's grave, which is also unmarked. We are near my daughter Lucille. I am Joseph Price. I am rough but gentle. I worked as a miner, freighter, and hotel owner. Thank you for listening to my story.